So we are, so there, I put, when you look at your dream, and then you want your dream to come true, the question is how? In that process, that's when rubber meets the road. What you have to do or what you have to pay to make that dream come true. And so I'm quite confident our report is not going to please everyone. And I hope it will please most people. Then let me just move on beyond the stakeholders. If you want to know more about the stakeholders' position, I'd be happy to answer in the Q&A period.
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
Before you move on, you've used the term for diagnosis of broken system and have said that the system will continue to erode if we don't do something about it.
Yes.
Did you get a sense from your stakeholder analysis that there was a shared perspective on that point?
No, I do not. We did not, I should say. I will say majority of the people probably share that view, but there's a significant group of people believe, no, just leave the status quo. And we're actually doing things on the margin, like the blueprint, like the medical homes, and that. But I can say those are things on the margin. Medical homes is not going to save you. It's a good positive step, but it's a little step. And so I don't think Vermonters are all aware of the situation you are in and necessarily agree with that conclusion. So in our work then, what we try to do is we first try to design the benefit package under each option, because we have to design a comprehensive benefit package under option 1, but also a central benefit package. So it's under each option there are sub-options. So we're doing that. And to make the estimate of how much it will cost, we are relying on VCure data. And that's why we're so anxious to get that data accessible, made available to us. And meanwhile, we're also checking, using the VCure data, check out other databases, but they're more partial. And to make sure what we estimate as the cost will be reliable and accurate. And design this benefit package means trying out many combinations. And because the Vermonters today, some have very, very good coverage, some do not. And then you want to bring everybody up to that one level, and then you want those who have more than the standard benefit package to carve out as supplementary insurance. Because whatever you gave away, you can't take it back in a realistic terms. So that's our approach in designing these benefit packages, but mainly is to try to produce as much benefit for the Vermonters, but make it affordable. What does that affordable mean is it can be paid from the savings by changing the healthcare system, like a single payer can reduce administrative expenses. But that, we actually went through all the financial statements and data of your insurance companies, your hospitals, we did a special survey of your physicians, and we're using that information to estimate how much can you save when you shift to one form of single payer and or modification of that single payer, that form of single payer. Another major progress we're making then is if you want to move into an integrated delivery system, the only strategy that proven to be effective around the world, other than revolution, is you change the payment system. You change the whole incentives that operate on the providers, and then get them to integrate their services. And that is then one of the common methods of payment is capitation, pay per person. But right away then you have to think about my health is not as good as Steve's. You should not pay as much for Steve as you will pay for me. Then that means risk adjustment. That's a complicated method. How do you make these risk adjustments? And then you want to pay the providers, but you want to hold them accountable for their performance. You want to make sure you get value for the people out of this insurance. So that means we have to establish performance criteria. Or recommend what performance criteria you use to pay out a bonus, or a portion of the payment is depending on how well you perform. And part of that performance is quality of care. Did the patient get well? If he or she has hypertension, high blood pressure, is that high blood pressure got under control? All these methods. I'm giving you so much detail is to tell you how detailed we're going into all this. So without then then let me just say a few words about the modeling part. All of this has to go through several quantitative models. One is to estimate the premium for different benefit package, requires us to develop methods, quantitative methods to estimate that, to calculate that. Then the results is fed into this simulation model, which Professor Gruber has designed over 10 years. That model will produce these following information for us. That is, how much will that affect on the household budget? How much that will affect employers' premium? Is it going to go up or come down? How will that affect the state health spending? And if this touches on Medicaid or the affordable care, how would that affect the federal subsidy or federal payment to the state? And how many people will remain uninsured if it's not single payer, like this public option? We know that will not cover everyone in Vermont. Then from this model, the output from this model then had to be fed into this so-called macroeconomic model, which is done by Tom Cavett and Nick Ruckler. You are familiar with their work on your budget. And they use a regional economic model that was developed 30 years ago. And that will estimate the impact on the employment and on possible in and out migration, as well as the gross state product, that is the level of your economic activity. So you're going to have a full plate when we submit our report to you, and you will have quite a bit to digest. And we will submit our report by January 19th. And what we need some help and guidance on is how do we handle the public comment period? The period is set, as you said in the beginning of this hearing. And we do welcome all comments, but we particularly welcome comments that focus on the method and the analysis we did, as well as, of course, our findings. But we will suggest, with your permission, we will urge the public to submit comments about their preference, which plan they like or dislike. Submit that to the legislature. Because it's not our role. We are not empowered or given the power to make the decision for Vermont. That's the role of the legislature and along with your government. And so we would like to suggest that those comments are submitted to the legislature. And we will urge people who submit the comments to us, submit it in a letter form. You can send it to us by email, but we would like to be able to print out everything, because we may have to redistribute it to people who do not read email. Because we will also submit a copy to the legislature. So these are just a few housekeeping questions. I'm welcome any questions.